Good morning, good evening, and good night, everybody. My name is Sarah, and today we're talking about all the books with female romances I still need to read. I swear this is the last in this series. There's just a lot of books that I still need to get to. I'm surprisingly slow at reading all the important books. This kind of video just does tend to take over my June video list because I'm like, look at all the books I still need to get to and I really want to promote, but I don't have any right to do so this is just a TBR. And it's that's the only thing I tend to say in the month of June. So I swear this is the last one. But female romances are surprisingly uncommon in books. Even if our main character is bi, more often than not they end up with a male character. And I'm like, we can have more than one of these books out there, right? And surprisingly, yes. So I just found a whole list of books I need to read in the future. And so I'm giving that list to you guys to remind me that I'm failing at this. So with that all being said, let's dive on in. Once again, my computer's here for me to read the description to you guys. I hope I do this right because I'm dyslexic and words suck. So the first two books I talk about are actually both classical fairy tale retellings. So I want to start off with the Cinderella one because this is the one that really got everyone noticing, hey, there's a lack of queer representation in our books. This one's yes, I'm gonna fix that. So that is Ash. I absolutely have been meaning to pick this book up forever because it is a Cinderella retelling. Our main character in this book is Ash. She is this world's Cinderella. In her father's death, she's left consumed by grief and left with her cruel stepmother. She's hoping that the fairy tales are real and that one day the dark fae will come and take her away from this land until one day she meets the king's huntress. And of course, there is a romance that ensues. Our main character decides to put away her fairy tale books and begins to learn how to hunt with this huntress. They slowly fall in love. It goes from friends to lovers, and it looks absolutely cute and amazing. And of course, there's always that dream of true love and fairy tale, and it's this looks so cool and awesome. And while this was published in fairly early 2000s, I'm really hoping it's a good book, but I don't have too much luck with early 2000s. Some of the reviews do warn that the beginning of the story is very close to the original fairy tale. However, it does change into more of just lesbians learning how to hunt and live together, and that's pretty cool. Next book is Girls Made of Snow and Glass. This is a Snow White retelling. However, the cruel stepmother is not cruel in this one. She is also a victim of circumstances. The character who was originally our villain in this story, her heart was cut out and placed with one made of glass. So she moves to the castle and decides to dedicate her time to convince the king to fall in love with her. All she wants is beauty, power, and the recognition of love. The catch, however, is the fact that she now has to become a stepmother. One thing that you probably should be aware of going into this is that the stepmother and the princess, they're only a couple years apart in age-wise. So yes, there is a huge difference in the relationship between the king and the now queen. So if that bothers you, then this definitely probably isn't a story that you should pick up. However, I've heard nothing but great reviews of this. There are no dwarves in this book. It is not that kind of Snow White retelling. It is about the queen and the princess's relationship and what's going on inside of the castle. And don't worry, the relationship isn't between the two main characters, it's in fact between the relationship between the princess and someone else inside the castle. So there is a female romance, however, it is with one of the side characters who is the love interest. We just focus on the queen and the princess as the princess kind of goes off and does her own thing. But still inside the castle, no running away to dwarfs here. From what I can get from the reviews, this is a subversive, retelling that deals more with the relationship of the villain and why they are often perceived as the villain. So, I'm always looking up for a good origin story of a good reason why. I need some motivation other than just, I felt like doing it, which, is justified in itself. But, if that's your main character, little spice is always needed. Next up, we have a graphic novel. The description of this is so incredibly short, I'm just gonna read it. Werewolf barista Julie and her new girlfriend go on a date to an up-close magic show. But all heck breaks loose when the magician casts a horrible spell on her best friend's Chet. Now it's up to a team of magical pals to stop the illicit illusionist before it's too late. So there is 5 volumes of this, and I really do plan on reading all of them. Don't know where I can buy them though, because graphic novels tend to be expensive. Hopefully my library has it, but this looks super cute and adorable, and it's it sets up with a pre-established relationship in it, and it's a team of magical, awesomeness, and our main character is a werewolf. So yeah. One of the reviews did provide a good list of representation. So our main character is a plus-size Latinx lesbian, and then there's also a plus-size black lesbian who I'm hoping is the love interest. One of the side characters uses they-them pronouns, however, I don't think they were given a specific name. All of them were people of color, and all of them were LGBT+. So cute, fluffy, hilarious, looks adorable. I'm a little hesitant to go into graphic novels, but if I'm gonna start somewhere, might as well be with the gay fantasy. Next up, we have a darker, standalone fantasy novel, and that is The Terracotta Bride. This is a story basically based in Chinese afterlife mythology. In the Chinese afterlife, it is not uncommon for someone to pick up what is known as a terracotta bride, a bride made from terracotta paper. This is sort of like an additional wife that you can have in the afterlife. Our main character was the human wife before they were brought to hell, and she's kind of stuck married to the richest man in hell until one day this man brings home a terracotta bride, and it's about the bride and the wife's relationship as they grow closer together in hell. This story mixes Buddhism and Taoism and of course a lot of science fiction to bring us the setting that is the Chinese afterlife. It also deals with a lot of like very haunting imagery because it is their version of hell. So it's kind of like a spoopy atmosphere. It's not meant to be a horror story, though it does take place in a not good setting. Not good as in you wouldn't want to be there, not as in like it's a really well written setting according to all the reviews. So standalone fantasy, dealing with the afterlife, and a mythology that I just am not that aware of. I guess it's like closer to religion than mythology because it's still practiced. Need to fix my wording on this, but like it sounds amazing and like I'm always down for something to do with the afterlife because I really like that concept in books, and this looks so amazing. And of course, female-female relationship between, I believe, the terracotta bride and the wife. So hopefully that, and we can just push the husband off to the side. We don't need him. The next book I have to talk about is also a sci-fi, though this one actually takes place in space, and that is The Black God's Drum. This is the story about our main character who wants to earn her ticket onto the spaceship using the trust and like information she has to get to the captain. The information that she has is about the kidnapped scientist and his weapon that he called the Black God's Drum. However, our main character has a secret of her own. She has a god in her head giving her powers and speaking to her. I don't think that the main character and the god have a very good relationship, so I'm really hoping a lot of the story deals with like their bickering. I want the relationship to be between the captain and our main character, however, because that just seems like cute and adorable. And like the captain's female and the main character's female, obviously. So, you know, I want that to be the relationship, though I do know that this has a female-female relationship in it. I just don't know who it involves. So I'm really hoping it's that. I might be wrong, though. The length of this book is probably closer to a novella, however, it does not hold back on world building. There are some trigger warnings, specifically a sexually explicit scene and very graphic violence. So it doesn't hold back. It has a lot in a short amount of space. And frankly, it just looks amazing. And there's also hints that it takes place like the very beginning in New Orleans. So, you know, spaceships in New Orleans, that just like, imagine that setting. It sounds so cool. Also, on a side note, the science fiction is tagged as more specifically steampunk. So if you're looking to get into that genre, I would think of going into this book because I like steampunk. However, there's not too many books out there that I think does it well because it's so much about the aesthetics. And it's like going by the cover, this has the right color scheme. So I'm really hoping, and it's going on the list. Next book we have to talk about is a fantasy called The Queen of Innisflaria. That looks like a made-up word, and I'm really hoping it is because I have no clue what it says. From what I'm told in this book, the LGBT relationships are very common. However, our main character was engaged to a prince to another land. However, one day she gets the notice of, oh yeah, your betrothal died. And though she never met the man, she still has to pretend to grieve for the loss of this person she was supposed to marry. However, the dead prince's land is still in desperate need of the princess's help, so they offer the hand in marriage to their prince's younger sister. Therefore, we have an arranged marriage between two females of this world, and also it has to deal with dragons, like our main character's going there to fight dragons, which female-female romance, arranged marriage, and dragons, like that just sounds amazing. Also, look at this cover. Like, I know this, screams early 2000s, but there's something about it that I'm like, it has potential, which, it's weird to say because I'm judging a book off of its cover, but it has potential just going off of its cover. The only negative thing I see on any reviews is some people are saying the pacing is a little bit off, maybe the beats don't always follow the action to the romance, but I'm still really interested in reading this because it seems like it has a lot of potential. I know I've said that, but that's all I can say because I haven't read it yet, but I want to. This next book I'm really giving more of an honorary mention because, the LGBT relationship was not tagged in the synopsis or the general. I was just told this has a female-female relationship, and that is Into the Drowning Deep. This is a dark fantasy story about characters who basically go off to make a mockumentary of, what if mermaids were real, until they accidentally find mermaids, and they're not good mermaids. They're closer to sirens. They're more closer to, I'm going to kill any human that walks into my path, and that seems really interesting. So I want to know where the female-female relationship comes in. I don't know, but at the same time, I'm it has potential. you're giving an honorary mention because I was told something. No confirmation, but at the same time I'm adding this to the list because it looks really cool, like a dark mermaid story. I want it to be good. And finally, the last book I have to talk about is Hurricane Child. This is going to be a new release. I don't believe it's actually out yet. It is a middle grade that deals with a child born in the middle of a hurricane, which is very bad luck. The start of the story is when a new character enters our main character's schools, and our main character realizes, like, oh, you're really cute. And so it is a middle grade, but the two characters are joined together by their unnatural talents, their bad luck. Both of them are able to see things that no one else can see, and they more or less take comfort in the fact that knowing that they're not alone. This book does have trigger warnings for homophobia, but it seems more focused on their relationship. And also, like, look at this cover. It's so cute. It also, like, vaguely reminds me of the musical Once on This Island, which I really loved. And so I know it doesn't have any music in it because it's a book, but at the same time, I have some biases, and this is obviously going to be one of them. This story is meant to be a hard-hitting middle grade, which I am a little concerned about because those two things don't normally go together. I know middle grade can really destroy someone's heart, but at the same time, I'm like, I read middle grade because they're, like, cute and fun, and, like, if this story is not cute and fun, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it because they're middle grade, but any genre can really destroy someone's heart. So, like, maybe this has hope. It deals with love and grief and loss, and I want it to be amazing. Our main character also has to deal with the fact that her mother more or less abandoned her not too long before the story begins. So, like, there's also that, but, like, hopefully they can find consolence in, like, the new love interest, and it looks really cute. It also looks really heartbreaking, so I'm hoping for the best. I'm gonna read it when I'm, like, willing to cry, however. So yeah, that has been all the books with female romances that I still need to read that are up on the priority list of my TBR that I will get to eventually. I swear I'm really bad at keeping promises. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you have any recommendations on what to add to this list or what books I should put first, please leave that down in the comment section down below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And as always, good night, good evening, and good morning, everybody.